Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Good morning, good evening, good morning, Philippines, good morning, Texas, and the rest of the world. Wherever you are watching us live, this is your podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. I am Dr. Rich, and I'm your host today. And I have in the background with me is my special guest, a friend and a fan favorite guest, no other than Krisha May Devera. She will be joining in and out with us while she's maneuvering our podcast platform today. And we are going to continue. This is our episode 2 of season 2 of Beyond Health and Wellness. It is an exciting moment for us to be talking about a lot of things that not only impact our life well, others that will live together as well. So we're going to talk about some of these things that we will learn together. And I'm sure that just like you, I am also learning as we share some different experiences and different thoughts and insights about wellness, and not just wellness in terms of your physical health, but beyond that, spiritual, physical, financial, environmental, social, and sometimes even political, because it is a holistic approach for us to be talking about these things in this time of our life. Today, we are going to be talking about subconscious mind. We focus on this because this is very important. And that is why, in fact, our podcast today is entitled Unlocking the Power of Your Subconscious Mind. We have two things that we need to make sure that we thoroughly understand and we spend more time understanding. And it is the subconscious mind, and above that is the conscious mind. And sometimes writers will refer to subconscious mind as the superconscious or the unconscious. And for this podcast and for this episode, we're just going to refer to it as the subconscious mind. So there is a conscious mind and there is a subconscious mind. Very quickly, I'm going to share with you a slide that will show us this illustration of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. As you can see in our slide today, we can never get enough of this. And I've spent about $100,000 to learn this over the years. If you put them together, and over different writers, and my mentor has instilled that into my mind, into the way I do things, into the way I think, by making sure that I do have a good amount of understanding about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. So let's talk about that. For conscious mind, it is the thinking part of our mind, the thinking part. Now, we're not saying that there are two different kinds of mind. There is just one mind operating. Mind means movement. It is not an organ. Your organ is your brain. It is an electronic switching station from which the mind could operate. But the mind is movement. And it gets its messages or its actions from the conscious mind, which is the electronic switching station that we refer to in our brain. So there's neurotransmitters in our body. As you can see, our body is made up of cells, all different kinds of cells, and cells have different charges: positive, negative, and neutral. And all of this, they are stimulated by the information that we hear. Now, every kind of frequency, you have the, what do you call this, radiology, you have the x-ray, you have the MRI, you have the Wi-Fi. All those are frequencies. You have radio, you have television. All those are frequencies, and frequencies carry with it messages or information. So information in terms of what is going on and what needs to go on, and these are being adapted or being captured through our senses. And there are five physical senses. One of that is the sense of seeing. When you see something, it gives you capture that message through seeing it. Or when you hear something, you capture that message or that frequency or that information. So three different things, right? Message, information, and frequency. And when you hear that, or when you smell it, you get that message too. Or when you taste it, when you touch it, those are basic or instinctual senses. But there are also other forms of higher mental faculties, is what we call, and there are about six of them. We're going to talk about those higher mental faculties as we move along. But for now, we're going to talk about how this information are gathered in our conscious mind through uh, these senses. When we see something, we see that message or that information, and it's up to our conscious mind whether that information is welcome. We agree with it, we welcome it, or we just ignore it. If we ignore it, it will just come right through. If we stop it, it will not come in. If we see it and we acknowledge it and we agree with it and we allow it into our senses, then it will form part of our paradigm. A paradigm is a collection of habits, information, and learnings from from the very beginning when we were born. So that's how it works. Uh, we have to be able to understand that there are thoughts and ideas that's passing right now. You are listening to me or watching me from wherever you are in the world. You are thinking about what I'm talking about, but you are also thinking about other things. They are competing information and ideas that's passing, and you are going to hear what I say, and you're going to welcome it or ignore it because there's another information that's passing that you adapted or you pay attention to. So whatever you pay attention to, that's what is being resonated into your conscious mind, and it all stays there until you say, "I welcome them." You know, I agree with that, or I don't agree with that, or whatever you want to do with that information, and whatever it is. As soon as you decide something about what you want to do with that information, it goes right into the subconscious mind. So, what we're really seeing here is that the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are two separate elements in the mind from which there is a barrier, and the conscious mind is the gatekeeper for what information that is being allowed into the subconscious mind. That it is very tricky, and it is very, very important for us to understand now that we have the information in our mind, in our consciousness. How is it going to manifest? How is it going to take root and bear results? We are going to talk about that too. So one after another. There is a text here by May. uh, May Krisha is our uh, behind the scene um, manager of this platform. Yeah, 100, 100. There's that 100,000, 100,000. Um, I was talking about the amount of money that spent for getting these trainings so that I can share this to you for free. They said, buy the truth, sell it not. And so I'm here and I'm sharing this. And I just came back from Cebu and from Singapore and in Iloilo, and sharing all this information It's not all of this information, but part of this information, because wherever we go and whatever it is that we share, what kind of topic, we cannot go away from this. There's always that part of this concept of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. In fact, right now it's operating in you and in me, whether we like it or not. And another thing about the question is, how is political aspect important in our wellness? Well, let's put it this way. uh, our wellness is, let's accept the fact that we live in an environment, we live in a society, right? And so there are political aspects of being governed by a government or institution, and this political aspect controls the kind of information, the kind of policies, the kind of laws that is enforced that affects our health. For example, in the US, the healthcare system um, is governed by the Affordable Care Act, which is the Obamacare in 2010. As you can notice, the way we do healthcare before 2010 and after 2010 is different because of the law, and the law is driven by political uh, pursuits and political actions and processes. And so that's how it affects. And then, as far as our wellness is concerned, what kind of food do you eat? What food that is available in the market doesn't just show up in the market, it has to go through policies and governing bodies that are driven by political institutions or politically appointed um, um, personnel that will do all of that. So there is a law and legal processes in order for us to get what we are having in the supermarkets, in the pharmacies, in the groceries, in the hospital, wherever we are. There is that political aspect uh, of understanding how we take care of our wellness. For example, if you are sick, you cannot just go to the hospital, right? You can have some kind of a informed consent, that you are giving that consent to the healthcare practitioners, that you allow them to take care of you. Otherwise, if you did not, and then they kind of do something for you, even if it's for your good, then that's still considered illegal, and that is unlawful, and that is politically that needs to have political uh, um, background in order to make happen. So that's how it is. It's the encompassing holistic approach, and we want to look at this in different perspectives so we understand why we're here and why there are processes and why we need to be able to work around them. That's what it is. But going back to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, now you have this information in you, and that information is waiting for your approval or for your agreement. And if you don't agree, and you don't agree with that particular thought or idea passionately, it goes in. If you agree with it passionately, it goes in also. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's negative or positive, when it works for you or don't work for you, where you like it or you don't like it. It doesn't matter. When it gets into the subconscious mind, it gets manifested. So it is very important. And I take every effort to make sure that in each of our episodes, we talk about this, even if it's just in passing, so that we can be reminded that it is very important to guard what's going into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to reject, it only has the ability to accept and put to manifest, put to results. The moment it goes into the subconscious mind, your body will react to it, or will respond to it. That should be the better way, the better word, will respond to it. And then out from your body, because the body is your physical representation. It goes into your result. So there will be manifestations of the result. So your body will be guided wherever it's going. And we're going to talk about what is it that makes our body go and make the result. And we're talking about the higher mental faculties here. And as we talk about that, we will take that in our second segment of this show. We'll be right back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich. We are live in lowenstream.net and in Facebook. We're also live in twitter.com and in Twitch. And also we have live podcast in our uh, YouTube channel. So we'll be right back.
Calling all food lovers and aspiring culinary stars. Get ready to turn your kitchen dreams into reality with the Commissary Kitchen, hosted by none other than the adobo queen herself, Nancy Reyes Lumen. From perfecting classic dishes to navigating the commissary business landscape, Nancy's got you covered. Because in her kitchen, every dish tells a story, and every recipe is an opportunity to shine. Join us every Thursday 8 p.m. CST or Friday 10 a.m. PH time, and let's cook up something extraordinary together.
All right, we're back, and we're going to continue to talk about the basics of the subconscious mind. Since we have somebody from the background, or manager from the background, Krisha, you can just send us some of your thoughts and insights in your message, in your text message, in the chat. And everyone, I encourage you to do the same thing, whether it's right now as you watch us live, or during the replay of this in the podcast platforms. You can just send us messages, questions, or share your insights about what you learn, about what you think we need to learn or share about, and about some questions that are lurking in your mind. So share that with us so that we'll continue to talk about that and learn together. Okay, so now we're talking about the basics of this subconscious mind. We know that our conscious mind is where the information is gathered or welcome. It is the gatekeeper, and those information that gets into the subconscious mind are the ones that are either allowed by the conscious mind or are ignored by the conscious mind, and it went through. Because it is the gatekeeper, it should be, we should not be ignoring things. If you are ignoring things, we call that the subliminal. It passes through because your filter, which is your conscious mind, is not able to filter as much information as you should. So that's why the results, because the results is actually a reflection of what is going on in the subconscious mind. All right. So it's very important. Now you asked me about, so now talk to us about the subconscious mind. Okay. The subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is like an autopilot. It is an autopilot in the brain. Okay, so imagine an airplane. Okay, when the airplane, like this Sunday, I'll be leaving for the Midland, Texas. So I'll be taking a plane going there. And I imagine that that plane will take off from the runway. As soon as the plane take off from the runway from where I am in Houston, it will be going to my destination in Odessa, that is Midland, Texas, that about an hour and a half flight. So the plane has determined that, the pilot has determined that, and it took off. When it takes off, it will reach a point where it's at its altitude that it could be an autopilot already. There will be air packets. You'd expect that, especially in the current weather at present. There will be winds. There will be all those kinds of things that will distract the plane from its destination. And it goes right here, it goes right there, it goes right down, up like this, but it continues with its speed. It will reach its destination because it's set it in its destination. That's the closest I could describe by the subconscious mind being the autopilot. It is, no matter the distraction, no matter where the disturbances are, the frequency will continue to be there and it will reach its destination. Okay, so that is the subconscious mind that we have. Regardless of what you do, what circumstances you have, what difficulties, what trials you may say, what hardship you will encounter, it doesn't, it acknowledges that, but it's still going to produce the result it was destined to produce. Okay, hopefully that is very clear for us because it is very important for us to understand that. Now, you asked me, can the subconscious mind distinguish between reality and imagination? No, the subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to understand or distinguish or differentiate between what is reality and what is imagination. It's the same for your subconscious mind. It means the same. That is why when you imagine things as of the moment that is at present, because it's going to be the same. If you imagine things in the future, then your subconscious mind will put it in the future. That is why you're not going to achieve it because it's in the future. Okay, the subconscious mind doesn't have that. But when you tell your subconscious mind, I am rich, it just says I am rich. It doesn't say I am, it doesn't have the ability to change the grammar of it. Okay, but when you say I will be rich, then you will be rich. The subconscious mind will understand that you will be rich, but that's going to be in the future. That is why people keep dreaming, right, or forging into the future. They're never going to achieve that because it's in the future. So it's important for us to understand that when whatever it is that you feed your subconscious mind, that's what it is. No more changes. If you change, you are going to change from the conscious mind. You're going to change what's in the subconscious mind, and we are also going to talk how we change what's in the subconscious mind already. The importance of the importance of our subconscious mind is I would say is paramount in our day to day life because it brings the result right now. What you have, what you see, what you feel is the result of the subconscious mind right now as we talk. Right now, what I'm seeing is the result that my subconscious mind is giving me. Okay, so this is very important. If I change the result around me, I will only need to change the information that I give to the subconscious mind so that the environment, the results will also be changed. Wayne Dyer was very famous for saying this. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at changes. So if this is the way you look at things, meaning that it's very difficult, it's economically struggling today, then it is. But if you also change the way you look at things, no matter what it is, it's going to bring it to pass. What it is that you are seeing is actually a manifestation of what the subconscious mind wants you to see, because that's what is being fed in the subconscious mind. Okay, that's how important the subconscious mind is. It's also, remember, we're still talking about the mind, and there is only one. There's the mind. Everyone, not every individual has different mind. There's only one mind, and every single one of us is it uses the same mind. Okay, it's our ability to differentiate it. It's differentiated. It's an undifferentiated with differentiated, meaning that how we utilize it will bring the results to us only. We are not responsible for the results of others, no matter how we say I'm responsible for you, and that's really good. But the results of that of other people is also is what is brought to them by the subconscious mind. Okay, so it's very we're we're operating on the same mind. The results are different. Okay, if you want, that is why I was reminded by this saying: if you want to change the way your results are, all you need is copy the ones you see the result from where you see the results and learn from them and follow those steps that they do, and you will end up the same thing. And it's Brian Tracy, actually one of my mentors, and I'm speaking in one of those seminars also with him. But that's what he's saying. All you need to do is learn from those people. Let's say, well, I always talk about the 1 million dollars, right? Those who have $1 million, learn from them how they get it, and get those steps, get those action steps or the techniques or the approaches that they do, follow exactly that, and you end in the same result, because that's really just what it is. But people don't do that, right? And a lot of people don't do that, and that's 90% of people that won't do that. Only 10%. And out of those 10% that will do that will have varying results. Some overshot, some less, but some will always get there. It's like having a race. You have the marathon or you have the sprint, track and field, right? They're all very fast. They aim at the same finish line, but each of them have different times of reaching there, but they all get there. They all get there because they trained for that one ultimate result or ultimate goal. So you all you need to do is really understand and learn from those people who have done it already, and do exactly the same thing, and you'll get the same result as well. Or you can have, and the other one is, you can do all by yourself with all your original approaches and techniques, and you'll end up the same goal that you have, whatever that goal is. Because there are two things that the subconscious mind has, which is what we have: the imagination, right? Your subconscious mind works very, very well with imagination. You want to imagine, but there are two kinds of imagination. One is a synthetic imagination. Some people have already imagined it, and you are just going to improve upon that imagination. And the other one is creative imagination, which is original, coming from you. That's where the inventors come in. That's where all those uh, legendary creators come in. So there are two of those. For example, we have a chair, right? You're sitting on a chair right now. That chair, before it became a chair, somebody thought of it, somebody imagined it. It goes into the subconscious mind. They probably got tired of sitting on the rocks inside the cave, and so they said, well, I'm going to cut a tree. But before I can cut a tree, what do I need to use in order to cut that tree? So they figure out maybe a stone, and then they make some shape on the tree, or they put that log, and then they sat on it, and they call it a log bench or something. And somebody had another synthetic imagination. Oh, this log is not as good as I want it, and I want to put something that I can lean my back on it, and put something at the back of it, and then they call it a bench, right? And then somebody says, this bench is so huge and so big, I want to cut it into just me, and then they call it a chair. And right now we have different kinds of chairs, right? We have cushions in the chairs, we have a sofa chair, we have a love seat, we have a table chair, we have a desk chair, we have different kinds of chair, all from one person who was imagining to put something that they will sit on. And then later on they call it a chair. Now we have different kinds of chairs. Those different kinds of chairs that I'm talking about are products or results of synthetic imagination. So that's how it works, right? For your imagination, for your subconscious mind, you're going to put it in. You can just imagine from your conscious mind, but when it doesn't get into the subconscious mind, it doesn't get done. Okay, the things that are done, the things that got done today by you, are products of the subconscious mind. Okay, that is why it is very important to not just let it be what it is. If you let it what it is, the results will always be the same, the one that you always have. But if you use it, you intentionally make it work for you, then it will work for you to give you the results you desire. It is very important to understand that, especially when we talk about wellness beyond our health, when we actually talk about how good our health would want to be, we want to imagine how good it is. You don't imagine being in a hospital and end up being healthy, right? So it's very important to understand all those things. Now, very quickly, we're going to talk about the higher faculties of the mind, but we will do that after the break. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich, and we will be right back.
Welcome to Season 4 of Be Bold. Why not? Get ready to make bold changes in your life with MJ Concepcion. Dive deeper into the discussions. Listen to the unstoppable voices of MJ and her guests, the legends and the rising stars. Join the celebration of talent, sport, passion, and the power of music. Tune in every Monday 7 p.m. Central, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Philippines. See you there.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me.
And we are back. We're still having that slide that you can see. We're going to share and talk about that very, very extensively. This is very important for me because we share about this, and some people can just talk, can just listen, and maybe agree a little bit, and it doesn't get digested. And because it doesn't get that digested, it doesn't produce as much result. They said when you learn something, the proof of being able to learn something is when you can teach it. And you can teach it only when you say you have taught it, when others learned. And when you say others learned, you can only say that others learned is because of their results. So it is very important for us to understand that repetition will get us to learn the things that we need to learn, but also in order to prove that we learn it, that other people learn from us and their results show. I want to be able to see it from our audiences. We have audiences in Dubai, we have audiences in Qatar, London, we have in Manila, Cebu, all in the Visayas and in Mindanao, and all over the United States. I'd like for you to come and share your experiences of what you've learned or want to learn so that we can improve the way we see things in this perspective. Now, Christian May is saying, can trauma or bad past experiences that is buried in our subconscious mind impact our present behavior? If so, how can this be addressed? Yes, we will talk about that because it is very important. You got a very good a question there, Grisha. We are going to talk your bad experiences, or even if it's not bad experience, if it's in the past. Now, listen, the things that we've learned since we were born up to 7 years old is very, very important. We are a blank slate. Everything that's in there is imprinted. Some terms called impressed. It's impressed in the subconscious mind. It's going to determine what we grow up. When we grow up, that's what we have. Whatever it is, it's going to be there. Here and there. Remember the plane? It goes in there, but it lands in that direction because it's projected. It's already programmed to get there. We're programmed to get there from the things that is impressed in our subconscious mind since we were 1 up to 7 and then onwards. Now, what it is, you can say, oh, well, I can't. You can't because your parents will tell you you're so good, or your parents will tell you you're beautiful, or you're rich, or you're wealthy, or you grew up successful. All those kinds of things is imprinted in our subconscious mind, and we grow up in it, believing in it. Remember, it's a paradigm. It's a set of beliefs. So you have this. It's buried in the subconscious mind. And the way it's buried there is because it's being repeated, right? It's repeated, repeated, repeated. And your conscious mind, which is the guardian of the subconscious mind, is the gatekeeper. It finally says, okay, and then it accepts it. So it gets in there and then it stays there. And your behavior manifests. That's the behavior you have, but it's there. Now, how are you going to change it? You paradigm, it's probably not going to go away. It will just fade and be stagnant if you don't feed it. If you feed it constantly, remind yourself it repeatedly, and then it goes out. You give energy to it. You stimulate it, is what we're saying in healthcare, right? And then it keeps coming out, keeps coming out. You really don't want to do that because it's there. It's like the viruses, of this vaccine. We just had a pandemic about 5,000 years ago. Was it 5,000 years ago? Yeah, it looks like it was a long time ago. But we just had that, and there's a worldwide, it's a worldwide concern, and there's that virus, right? And when gets in that virus, it's gonna stay there. It's just going to not be stimulated. It's not. It will stay dormant until it's stimulated to come out. All right. So because it's going to stay where it is. It's just not working. It's not making you unhealthy or sick because it's controlled. What do you mean by control? Is that your immune system is able to topple it, and that's why your immune system, we talk about your immune system in some of our episodes, we talk about this very lengthily. Your immune system is like an army in your body, and it gets into those viruses and all those bacteria because we're attacked 24/7, 24 hours a day. We're being attacked over 100 times for cancer cells alone. So there are other viruses that attack our body. And why don't we get sick every day? And some of us sick every day, then they recover. What's going on there? It's because your immune system, which is really fueled by your subconscious mind, is keeping you healthy, and it's controlling those viruses. That's why we have lymph nodes right here and there. We have lymph nodes. It goes in there, puts it on prison, and it stays there, right? But the army that's watching that, if it's weakened, then you get sick because it comes out, right? It comes out and proliferates over there, and so you have all those kinds. Now you have that you need that medication, you need that vaccine, which is really the virus, right? A virus or a mimic virus. That's why we have the mRNA, which is your uh, memory of the RNA messenger. So you got all of that, and it stays there in your body. There is a balance in your body. We call that the homeostasis. We are healthy because we are balanced. When there is an imbalance, we become unhealthy. So in that, your behavior stays like that, the condition stays like that because of the fact that it's been there. Now, it's not going to go away, right? Your behavior or your experience in the past is not going to go away, but you are going to make it stay dormant by not feeding it, but feeding your subconscious mind with something that you want to see happen, the result instead. Okay, let's say you have a bad experience and you keep feeding it, the bad experience keeps coming back and more bad experiences. But if you ignore it, or you skip it there, you acknowledge that it's there, but really you're not stimulating it. You are stimulating the good things that will happen in your life. And how do you do that? That is where your affirmation comes in. All right. You keep saying the good things about you, the good things about what you want. And then that good thing, once it comes into your subconscious mind, it gets accepted there or gets absorbed. That's the one that will bring out the results. So you don't bring the results anymore for the past bad experiences or trauma or all that, but you bring the good results out of what you empower in your subconscious mind by repetition, by affirmation, by gratitude, and of course, by imagination. Hopefully that's really very clear. I'd like for our audience to really be very clear on that. There are so many books, hundreds of books that talk about this, and this podcast that we're talking about today is free for us to just share so that we will understand. We're not going anywhere until we understand how powerful the subconscious mind is in affecting or creating the results we get. Okay. And people say, well, I'm poor because I'm this. Well, yes, because that's what you're thinking. That's what your subconscious mind has. There's nothing there in your subconscious mind that says you're rich. And so because there's nothing there, what it has is you are poor. It gets being poor. Now let's say you get $100,000, but your subconscious mind, you're poor, but you get $100,000. You're supposed to be rich, right? At some point you're supposed to be rich, but your subconscious mind says you're poor because the condition of your subconscious mind is conditioned to be poor. It is poor. So what happens to your $100,000 goes away? It will not take very long. Your $100,000 will go away. Will go to that person who thinks that that person deserves it, thinks is rich, because your subconscious mind has to level into that consciousness, so to that mentality, which is poor. You will not have those. Sometimes you say, oh, I was going to have this a great job, but I'm really, and you will have that little bit, probably, out of luck sometimes, or maybe, but then it's not in the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is programmed to be poor, so it's going to be poor. It's going like that. Very, very important to understand. Isn't this trauma forever? We just learn how we get through every day, but it's always there. Yes, your trauma, the experiences is going there. So you're really referring here to your paradigm. The trauma, the experiences builds the paradigm. When it gets into the subconscious mind, it's what you are. Your subconscious mind defines what you are by the results you get. Now, in research, we call this, if you cannot measure it, it doesn't exist. So you want to be able to measure it. What is the measurement of what is in your subconscious mind? The measurement of that is what's the result. Okay. And what the result is, okay, so I said, I'm good. But how good is it? The simplest measurement of the results of what's going on in the subconscious mind is you're going to laugh. It's how much money you have. Okay, it's how much money you have. It's your financial standing. It's your finances. How much money? I talk to people and always ask how much money you have. The reason is not I am going to ask money from them or give them more money. It's because I want to see where they are as far as their results is concerned. Now, can you measure the results of your subconscious mind in other ways? Yes. You can measure it in intellect. You can measure it in behavior. You can measure it in different kinds of things. The simplest, the easiest is measure it in terms of how much money you have in your account at your disposal. Then you can see that person, where that person is, so you can see how you can tell that person or share that person or build that person to a point where they want to be. But I always ask how much money you have, and then they tell me, oh, I don't have money. Yeah, okay, so then this is where we go. I have this much money. Okay, this is where we go also. Because if they have a lot of money, they will not need me. They will not need you. They will not need anyone. They just, people need them, because they are the ones that are in the position where the results are better. Now, I'm not saying that, okay, so I have a lot of money, but I have bad behavior. Okay. Now, bad behavior is also a part of the results of the subconscious mind. There are so many people who have a lot of money, but their behaviors are bad, are not desirable to society or to you, perhaps. And that should be okay because it's not your behavior. Okay. Behavior will also bring it down. It's about the positivity. If you have a lot of money and your behavior is opposite to that, that means that there is incongruence or inconsistency as far as the results is concerned, which means that there's something going on in the subconscious mind that will tear you down and bring you down. So it will also, you will say there's a lot the people, there's a lot of money but they're not happy, right? What's making them not happy? If they have a lot of money, those people who don't have a lot of money, they have good behavior, what's making them not happy? Because they have good behavior. There's just an imbalance there. The subconscious mind, as far as success is concerned, balances you out, which is in our physical health is the homeostasis, normal, balanced out. Because if one is the bad, what you call this thing, bad bacteria is above the level of the good bacteria in our body, we get sick. Okay, it should be balanced, or the bad bacteria is lower than the good bacteria. The good bacteria should be the one that's the balancing act there. Because at the moment that the bad bacteria goes up, you get sick, right? If your blood pressure goes up, you get sick. If your blood pressure goes down, you get sick. If your blood sugar goes up, you get sick. If your blood sugar goes down, you get sick. You get sick. You are not in the best best life when there is an imbalance. It's the same thing in the physical, which when you have a lot of money but you have bad behavior, it's just imbalance. You get sick there too, right? This is very important for us to understand. Now, ask me questions so that we can talk about it. I'm going to share with you a little bit about uh, the next slides. This slide is still the stick person, but I will share with you what it is, because this in our mind we have these thoughts that we entertain. Okay, when we entertain those thoughts, those thoughts are supposed to be going into the subconscious mind, and then we say, well, I entertain, I think about it, I think about getting $1 million. Why didn't I get $1 million? Because I think about it. Your thinking is staying in the thought, in the consciousness, in the conscious mind. It's not going into the subconscious mind. And the way to do that is, guess what? You're going to put feelings into it. How do you feel when you have $1 million? It's the feeling that will make it get absorbed into the subconscious mind. Once the feeling is there and the feeling is strong enough to get in, then your subconscious mind will cannot do anything but will manifest it through your body. There will be circumstances, events, experiences, opportunities will open. You didn't even expect it to open. It's because your subconscious mind is working on it. While you're sleeping, it's working on it, and it's providing you all those opportunities and circumstances. You can't sit down. I mean, maybe you could sit down. I doubt it. But if granting you'd sit down, there will still be different kinds of circumstances that will open to bring you the one that is in your subconscious mind. We'll talk about that some more. We'll be right back. This is your podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich. We'll be right back.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon
every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate, and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings, or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
And we are back. So this is our discussion today is intense, and we are still going to talk about this again. Even if we talk about health, guess what? We can't avoid but talk about this, because everything boils down into where it should be and how things are happening in front of us. And in fact, I have a question a while back that was asked, so what is going on in the world? Because we're talking about political issues. Does that affect our wellness? Oh yeah, it affects our wellness. It's what we call as the collective thought. The collective thought is how many people are thinking about the same thing. And we're thinking about the same thing. It's collective thought, and it gets done, right? So in fact, there's a good book. It's The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, who talks about it. When you reach that tipping point, things will reverse, or things will come to pass, because so many people are thinking about the same thing. Okay, and so I'm not a political person by any means, but I would think that would have to be an influence as far as what you want to do if you are a political figure and you want to get some votes. So many people are thinking of you, and this number of people will get the votes to you, and you win, right? So that's what it is. But let's talk about this thing that we said. So thoughts, and then there is feelings, and your body will move around, because your body will follow it. Your body shouldn't lead. If your body will lead, you're done. Game over. It will have to be your subconscious mind that will lead. Your body can't lead you. It will be your subconscious mind. But we're talking about the higher mental faculties. These are advanced cognitive abilities that set humans apart from other species and allow us to think. So people, animals can think, they can smell, they can touch, they can those other five faculties, but they couldn't do this. These are exclusive to cognitive abilities for humans. Okay, so one of that is imagination. We have the ability to imagine. It is the ability to form mental images, ideas, or concepts that are immediately present through the senses. Okay, so you use that imagination. It's very important to use that imagination. There's lots of books that can teach you about how you can do imagination. And in fact, for me, I shared you make your imagination at the time when you are in the state akin to sleep, which is SATS, state akin to sleep. When does that happen? When you are going to bed, about to go to sleep, you, you rested already before you finally go to sleep. That is a state akin to sleep. That is a best time for you to make your imagination. And then the other one is when you wake up also. When you wake up, as soon as you wake up, that is a state akin to sleep. You're not so awake, but you're already awake. You're not there yet. You're like, it's the dusk. It's a dusk is a time between sunset and the setting sun. That's where you want to utilize a lot of your imagination. Can you do that in between in different times? Yes, you can, as long as you create a state akin to sleep, and then you're doing your imagination. The other form of higher mental faculty we're talking about is perception. Perception is the ability to um, interpret and makes sense of the information gathered through the senses. So, what is your perception? What is your perception about certain things or certain phenomena? What is your mental interpretation of reality? And it differs from person to person. So that's why perception is reality. It differs from person to person. So make sure that you use your perception, how you perceive things. Okay, you go into a, let's say, a department store, and you see somebody there bringing a bag. How do you perceive that person? Does the perception that you have of that person help you advance your goal? Okay, so it's really going to be like that, because people are not thinking about you. You will have to be thinking about yourself. You will be surprised to realize that you think that you do things because people might think you are this, might think you, no, they're not thinking about you. You are the only ones that can think about you. So make it focus on you. Think about you, because if you think about other people, then that will also be reflective. That is your perception. Okay, the other one here is willpower, is the ability or the strength to focus, to persist. I would always say discipline. Willpower is like a discipline. The discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and go ahead and do it. Right, you stick to it. It's a routine, meet tight deadline, all those kinds of things. When you say you're going to wake up at 6 o'clock, wake up at 6 o'clock. It's not because your mother says so, your father says so, or the book says so, or your mentor says so. It's because you said so. It's your will. Okay, it's very important to understand that. The other one is memory. Memory is a faculty that will retain or recall information, experiences, and knowledge. It is important because what you remember. Remember, we always say, okay, remember the good things only. Well, there was a traumatic experience, bad experience that I have. Well, it's still there because you're still remembering it, right? Use your memory to recall the information that were good. Did you have information in the past or experiences in the past that are good, that are contributing to the good that you want? Then remember them. Then recall them. What do you call that? Replay them in your memory, right? Because that's the way to cover the things that are bad. If you keep remembering the things that are bad, they keep showing up. So reasoning is another uh, higher mental faculty. It is the ability to analyze, to evaluate, and draw logical conclusions from the information you get. You reason it out. Is it good? Is it bad? It's usually going to just be yes or no, good or bad, for or against. So there are two. It's called dichotomy, right? We are going to really just going to reason things. For example, when I ask our audience to fold your arms, and you folded your arms, and then now you open that arms again and refold your arms. This time, the arm that was underneath will be over it. It's going to be different, because then your mind will reason together. It's called the cognitive dissonance, right? There is that awkwardness and discomfort that you experience or feel when you do things differently, but your mind will reason with it. So make sure that you use that reasoning to reason how good or how important the result you want. Okay. And of course, the last one among these six higher mental faculties is my favorite, which is the best, I believe, because it is the ability to understand or know something instinctively. It's called intuition, without the need for conscious reasoning. It is beyond reason. It's illogical. It's just happened. It is a gut feel, and it's usually correct. It's 100% correct. So it's very important to understand. Let's repeat that one. Our higher mental faculties. Our higher mental faculties are: one, memory. Uh, let's correctly say this so that you understand and remember this. We have the higher mental faculties, imagination. Okay, remember I told you there's a lot of books that will teach us about how we can use our mind to imagine better. Better imagination. That's number one. Number two, perception. Number three, willpower. Number four, we have reasoning. uh, Number four, we have memory. Number five, we have reasoning. And number six, we have intuition. These are higher mental faculties that we as humans are expected to use above and beyond our five basic senses. Okay, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of hearing, and sense of, was the other sense? I forgot already. The other sense is touching. Hear, see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So those are your basic um, senses, but you have your higher mental faculties that humans are gifted with, that are not used very much. We want to use that, and it starts with your imagination, memory, willpower, reasoning, and you have your perception and your intuition. So use all of that. Okay. So now you have all those willpower, you have all those higher mental faculties that you can utilize to put those feelings and imagine them, that they are happening in your life. When you have that feeling, it goes in, and it's only a matter of time before your subconscious mind will make it to pass. Okay, because it's going to be realized, it's going to happen. Your body will follow it. It says what your mind can imagine, what your mind can see, your body can touch. You can touch it, you can see it, you can feel it, because your subconscious mind will bring it to you. So it's a vibration. Remember, I told you your mind is a movement, is vibration. It's going to use different kinds of vibration. Next time we'll talk about vibrations and levels of awareness, so that we can understand how is this subconscious mind going to um, um, bring the results that I want. It is all about vibration, because your mind is movement. It's all about vibration into the frequency. You want $1 million, be the $1 million, be the person that uses, that utilizes or deserves the $1 million. Because if your consciousness, or if your subconscious, your personality, your paradigm is not $1 million, no matter there are so many $1 million, but it's not going to be yours, because you're not in that frequency, you're not in that vibration. So it's very important to understand that also. So vibration and levels of awareness we are going to talk about when we share different kinds of things. Now, I'm sure you have a little bit of understanding about this. We're going to talk about this and how that impacts our wellness and how that impacts all of us, all of our parts of our life when we come back on our next episode next week. So stay with us. This has been your podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich. And I'm your host today. And with me is Christian May in the background, making sure that we have everything we need in this podcast. If you have questions, share with us, ask us questions, and text us whatever your thoughts are. We'll be happy to accommodate them. Thank you very much for being with us today. We were live, and there's a replay of this podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, in our live platform in loudandstream.net. We have Twitch, and we have YouTube channel. We have also Facebook, and all of those platforms put us live, and we are also having a replay of that. Thank you very much. Have a great day and week ahead of you, everyone.